actually. Lisa and I are.
All right, welcome everybody. Please stand. I'd like to call the Winfield Planning Commission special meeting to July 23rd to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. John Dewinski.
Present.
Mark Nelson.
Here.
Tim Clayton.
Present.
Dave Anderson.
Yep.
Jim Hajic.
Yes, sir.
Phil Metzger. Mike Duffy.
Here.
Sean Finney.
Here.
Ryan Deutmeyer.
Present.
Deb Gritters. Nick Feller.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Phil Metzger is absent today.
Okay, thank you, Deb. We do not have any minutes or old business, so moving on to new business, and the only thing on our agenda tonight would be item number 1 on the docket, public hearing and recommendation to the town council, docket PC 2025-11, zone change, ag to PDR. Owners Donald Gray, petitioners Lennar Homes of Indiana Incorporated at 5510 East 117th Avenue. And again, this is for a zone change. Thank you.
Thank you. Your stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is this open? Look.
Thank you.
It was-
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we begin, Mr. Neutmeyer, has this been properly advertised?
Deb's got that.
Yep. All right, thank you very much. Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Clevin.
Thank you. Mr. President, thank you. Fellow board members of the Planning Commission, thank you, and as well as those that are also council members sitting behind the dais this evening. As you know, and for the record, and those that may not know me in the audience, my name is Todd Clevin. I'm the Vice President of Land for the Lennar Homes. Last name is spelled K-L-E, V as in Victor, E-N. Our offices reside at 1700 East Gulf Road, Schaumburg, Illinois, Suite 1100. And I am a resident of Crown Point, Indiana, former resident of Winfield, Indiana. With me this evening is our entitlements manager, Luke Fricke, also a Northwest Indiana resident, as well as our land acquisition manager, Andre Hatami, also Northwest Indiana, born and raised resident, former Winfield, Indiana resident. His family still resides here as well, as so does mine. Our attorney, Todd Leaf, and our civil engineer, Brad Moore. Just a real quick history on how we got to where we are this evening for those that may not be aware that are in the audience. The subject property on the agenda, and before I forget, thank you so much for the special meeting. And as I mentioned before, the fees that are associated with this, Lennar will definitely cover. We started this project about 24 months ago, sitting in your TAC room in front of the Planning Commission a few times, and we were successful receiving a favorable recommendation on the zoning to the town council. And at that same meeting, we received the primary plat approval contingent upon receiving the zone approval at the town council level. We are in front of you this evening only for the rezone. The primary plat still stands with that approval, with the contingency of receiving the approval on the rezone at the town council level. If successful this evening, we plan to be in front of the town council on July 28th. The reason we are back in front of the Planning Commission is at the 11th hour, the night of the town council meeting, it was self-inflicted, and I brought it to your attention that the product we were proposing at Heron Landing was no longer available at Lennar. I understand that that may appear to be a bait and switch, but I'm here to tell you wholeheartedly, I'm on my 31st year, and you can imagine being a land developer and a home builder over 31 years, you're asked by a few people to do things that you might not agree to do. And I am proud to say when there was something that was asked of me that I did not personally agree with, I did not do it. And if I was asked to do a bait and switch to the town of Winfield, my hometown, you're looking at two things right now. You're looking at my face and you're looking at my name tag. I can take my name tag off. But when I have to look in the mirror, I still have to look at my face. And I'm here to tell you, 100% accurate, this was not a bait and switch. As I mentioned before, Mr. Anderson, you were a huge advocate, as well as other municipalities, speaking of the existing product that Lennar built. I took that over several months and presented that to my superiors at the division level as well at the region level. And it just so happened, my voice was heard, and they decided to eliminate that landmark lineup right as I was coming to the town council. And that's when we chose the new lineup that was asked of us, just due to trendier livability, the way the homes live, the way the families act throughout. We then presented those homes to you, and we are asked to add additional treatments to them. We added gables, we added some cobbles, we added some trim pieces. We were in front of you a couple weeks ago seeking permission to be placed on a public hearing, and that is where we are this evening. Since then, and at that meeting, we were asked if we would consider putting hardy board on all four sides. And as promised, I indicated I would come back this evening with that answer, and I am pleased to say that Lennar Homes agrees to have 0 vinyl siding on these homes, and all four sides will be hardy board. Mr. President, with your permission, I'd like to hand out some samples of what hardy board is. For those that are not familiar with it, hardy board is a cement compound, high durability siding versus vinyl siding. I have in my hand here a sample of vinyl siding. As you can see, it's flexible. The hardy board, you can just tell by the sound the difference in quality. I'll go ahead and pass these out if I may. Along with the horizontal treatments of hardy board, the vertical components of the home will also be hardy board. And what I mean by vertical components, those are the actual trim pieces. The corners of the home, the wrap around the windows, the wrap around the porch post, so on and so forth. With that being said, I indicated that I'm going to try my best to add hardy board to our renderings. I was pleasantly surprised because in real life, if you compare a vinyl house next to a hardy board house, you can definitely tell the difference. I was afraid we were not going to achieve that with our renderings. But as we dove into the program and we entered our architecture into it and we added the hardy board option, I'm going to have the team, if you may, walk these around to you just up close. You'll see what these homes now look like with hardy board on them. I'll just take a few seconds while they show you these. At Huron Landing, we are proposing 146 home sites with 6 different home plans. Again, 6 different home plans, 146 home sites. From going to vinyl to hardy board, that increased our ASP even more. Since the original favorable recommendation to the town council, we now have larger homes than what we originally proposed. We now have 4 sides of hardy board, and we also, as mentioned before, increased the home specifications to gourmet kitchens, deluxe bathrooms. So these homes will also have crown molding, double ovens, backsplash, larger trim packages, higher quality floor packages, and we are anticipating an average ASP north of $450,000. Some of these homes will be north of $600,000, and some of them will be below $550,000. Just a recap as far as what this community does bring to the town of Winfield. As you know, we agreed to contribute a lump sum up front of $300,000 to the future roundabout of Gibson Street on 117th Avenue, and an additional $150,000 through the building permit process, for a total of $450,000 contribution to the future roundabout improvements of that sector. We also obviously are giving you the additional right-of-way for any future improvements along 117th Avenue. And the pond at the southwest corner is providing 100% detention for the future roundabout of Gibson Street and 117th Avenue. We are also providing connectivity from 109th Avenue to 117th Avenue. I do understand the situation the town is in, the town council with your constituents, with traffic, so on and so forth, anti-growth. I've been doing it for a long time, and I do feel your pain having to address that. As you know, a town that does not grow is a town that begins to decline. It's no different than a household on a fixed income. The tax revenue that this subdivision will generate, in addition to the building permits, $12,000 to $15,000 a home site. You can do the math and kind of figure out the benefits as far as what can be put back into the municipality in other locations. The other pictures here show what the entrance of the community would look like if and when the roundabout were to come. And the bottom picture down here in green shows what we're going to install in the beginning and how that would be addressed if and when the roundabout does come to fruition. The other things that this community does bring are guaranteed 3-car standard garages, 2-foot wraps on the stone or brick on the corners, and not to mention, last but not least, the Smith ditch. There's a drain tile that runs along the south side of 117th Avenue through the middle of this property, just like it did through Aylesworth. As promised, when we did Aylesworth, we captured that drain tile and we were able to hold back some of that stormwater and release it much slower to eliminate the flooding along State Street and Benton Street. We are also doing the same here. Just as a reminder, Aylesworth was a 515 community subdivision. That's brought your $3.1 million regional lift station with 2 force mains running directly to the sewer treatment plant, which basically paved the way for Taft Middle School, the $80 million school that now resides in Winfield. With that, I truly appreciate working together, the partnership that we have formed, and more so I appreciate you cooperating with us with this special meeting. I'll open up to any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your presentation. So at this time, we're going to open this up to the public, and then we'll see if there's any questions following the public.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to open this up to a public meeting at this time. If there's anyone here that would like to speak for or against the proposal, please stand up, step up to the microphone so we can get you on camera and record. We need your name and address, and then anything you'd like to say about this. So, yeah, and address us, and then we'll compile our questions we have back to the developer. It's not to be a conversation directly with the developer. So is there anyone here that would like to speak either for or against the petition as presented? Sure.
Please sign in too.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I'm not a public speaker, so we'll see how this goes. So, when we heard about this,
Can I get your name? I'm sorry.
Shannon Carrasco, 12309 Putnam Street.
Thank you.
Okay. So when we heard about this, there's already been a lot of concerns within the town of Winfield about all the residents going up all at one time. We keep seeing more and more and more. So our concerns are the fact of infrastructure. Our roads. We have 2 main roads that go east-west, and we have 1 main road that comes into Winfield north and south. Every time we have new residentials coming in, we're adding more and more cars to these already taxed roads, okay? They brought up their roundabout, which we all know about, but what is the plan for when we actually shut down that major intersection for these now 100 and some odd additional homes that are going to be on that direct route? That is on 117th, which is going to be right going through that roundabout, truthfully. We already have troubles when they did the roundabouts over on 109th, where, you know, a lot of that traffic was coming through that individual intersection, and it was huge backups for us residents. You know, we were having a lot of backups over at the 109th and north-south going over 109th because so many people were detouring. We were having a lot of backups at that intersection right there at Ace Hardware. So what is the plan for detouring all these additional residents? In addition to, you know, they brought up the fact that they have Ellsworth. how many lots are still open in these already going subdivisions that we still have to plan for? Because they've already been approved, you know? So we have all those additional residents that are still in the process of building, and then we're adding more. So that's my first concern, is how we plan to manifest that and work around that major shutdown with adding more residential areas. My second concern was the fact of our schools. We have one Crown Point High School, okay? They did do an upgrade, and it did increase their volume, but they currently have 15 to 20 active building communities. How long is that gonna last? And how long will it take for a new high school to be built if we cannot upgrade that yet again? Do we need to look into the fact of whether Winfield needs a high school if we're gonna continue to upgrade? Do we need to look into the fact of not only that, but our teacher ratios? Currently, from what I can tell, we're at a ratio, last report, of 18 to 21 students per classroom. So these classrooms, you know, sure, we can add more teachers, but you have to have room, you have to have rooms to put more teachers. So do we have rooms to add more classrooms and more teachers as these populations grow? Is our other concern. In the last 48 hours, I posted online a petition with these concerns, and I have over 120 residents who have signed this petition that are all concerned about these issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against? Sir, if you don't mind standing up, come up to the podium so we can catch you on the microphone.
Hello, my name is David Miller. I live at 7476 East 120th Place in the Stonegate subdivision. And biggest concern is it seems like all the plans for north-south roads going from 109 to 117th, everyone is zigzagging through neighborhoods to slow down traffic. There's no straight road. We're going to keep that at what, 20, 25 mile an hour? And my suggestion is other suburbs I've lived in back in Ohio, whenever there's a situation like this, they'll put a road in and all the homes have their backyards backing up to the road. And there's one or two access points to that main road. So you're not zigzagging through neighborhoods to go north to 109, okay? And it's a safety issue too. There's gonna be many people coming from the southern part of Winfield trying to get through to 109, cutting through these neighborhoods, and there's cars parked in the street, there's kids playing, things like that. How come we can't have a main road that's like 35, 40 mile an hour, straight shot, and having all the neighborhoods back up to it with maybe one access point in between, maybe two? Has any thought ever been given to that? That's my main point.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against this? Yes, sir.
Hello, good evening. Carl Williams, 10875 Park Street. And I really just want to add an extra voice to basically reiterate what this young woman said, that our concerns are basically, it already feels like we're having to drive in the Indy 500 sometimes at rush hour around these roundabouts on 109, and the schools do feel like they're starting to get a little overcrowded on top of it. And while I don't come to these meetings that often or know a lot about the north-south traffic flow, I don't care if there's hardy board on these houses. The fact is you're trying to add 146 more homes, you're just going to overcrowd everything that's already feels like it's getting choked out. So just keep it short and sweet. I'm against, and apparently there's a lot of people online that are also against it. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak for or against?
Jerry Steiner, 707 North Main Street, Crown Point. I'm also a lifelong resident of Winfield, was born and raised here in 1960. I represent the property owner that has this farm, Don Gray. He's a retired school teacher from Crown Point. and is, because of health issues, is unable to be here, so he asked me to speak on his behalf. As most of you that know me know, I sat on that side of the bench for over a decade, a long time, and on the council. And one of the things that we were very concerned about, and I'm sure if I sat in a council meeting today, that would probably comes up in the back room every time, and it's traffic. And how do you fix that problem? Well, the first thing we did was create a thoroughfare plan. And the thoroughfare plan identifies how traffic flows to the town and where we need major thoroughfares for people to travel. This property actually was designated to go from the corner of Grand and 117th through this property and end up at the roundabout in Aylesworth on 109th and Green. And so I think having that north-south, because you're right, there are very, very, very few north-south avenues in Winfield. There never have been. This, I think, will open up a lot. So if you have an accident or something happens somewhere, there's another way for people to get around. When you shut these roads down, yeah, it's going to be a pain. It seems like there's 4 seasons in Indiana, and it's, you know, spring, winter, summer, and construction. And that's just how it is. And that's every town I've ever been in. This property is master planned for residential development. The density is, I think, 1.8 per acre, something like that, which is very low density for most subdivisions. And I know we're not other towns, but other towns you'd be 2.5 to 3. That's what they do. So this is very low density, and the property owner's question to me was, if they don't like $600,000 homes, what do I do? And I said, well, hopefully they will like these homes, because Lennar has been a good partner in our town. They, as Mr. Clevin said, without them, that school would not be there, Taft would not be there, because it was several $1 million to run that sewer. And then in addition to that, the 500 homes they built also gave us that tax base. And you have to have that tax base, as you guys, some of you guys on the council know, you have to have that tax base to have the money to do the roads. It's kind of the chicken and the egg thing, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. You go to Illinois, I don't know about Ohio, but you go to Illinois, and the state or whoever just builds roads. They just do it at their own dime. Winfield can't do that, not that I'm aware of anyway. You know, we don't have the money to do that. And I really don't want my taxes to go up dramatically, so the way to get these things accomplished is to hold the developers' feet to the fire. Mr. Anderson did a great job of that, getting Lennar to pitch in, I think it was over $1 million for the roundabout on 109th Avenue, plus the land. And again, more money for this roundabout. And so I think this would be a good project for Winfield. It will help alleviate traffic flow in a lot of areas because there will be a second way to go. I think there's only one stop sign, much as Nick didn't want it, but there is one stop sign there. So it would be pretty much a straight shot from 117th to 109th. It would have been better if it could have gone to Grand Boulevard, but with the wetlands and things, that wasn't possible. So I think, and I do believe if anybody drives 109th, those roundabouts work. They do. They keep traffic moving. And it takes a little while to get used to them. You can tell when somebody's driving them that's not used to them, but once you get used to it, they keep traffic going and they work. So I expect to see more roundabouts. I know there was one planned at Randolph 117th as well, and that'll solve a lot of problems. So I respectfully, on behalf of the owner, request that you approve this subdivision. And as a resident here as well, I think it will help traffic. 180 homes is not that many, believe it or not, it's not. It could be a lot more. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against? Sir?
Good evening. My name is Adrian Dominguez. I'm a property owner on Fayette Street. So I believe what you guys are talking about as far as the thoroughfare would go right in front of my home. And I have 4 beautiful daughters, little daughters, a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and 3-year-olds. And adding, just as many individuals here have stated, that amount of traffic on Fayette Street without any other alternatives I haven't heard any alternatives presented. That would be my main question is what other alternatives have we looked at? I know the discussion has been that it's not going to be a direct route, just like when Aylesworth was connected to Windance, there's no direct route through really, but traffic tends to go through there. Is it the safest? I don't think that it's, it leads to issues. I know that. I've seen them firsthand, the issues that it creates with so many residents heading to school in the morning, whether that be taking their kids to school or coming back from school. We're all pretty much typically headed in the same direction, and we only have mainly Randolph Road to utilize for north-south all the way through. Our Grand Street doesn't go through. State Street, Benton Street, it's not the greatest, but what alternatives are we looking at? What's the price tag there? We would definitely like to know that because I'm not the only family that has concerns on this route. There are a lot of families that have concerns with little kids that tend to scatter all throughout the street on this route that we're talking about as the proposed route for an alternative north-south. That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this moment?
Mr. President, just a point of clarification. The thoroughfare does not go past it goes to Great Place, so we're not like the street.
Anybody else like to speak for or against? It's your last chance. Okay, at this time I'd like to close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion or questions to the developer. Any comments, questions?
Mr. President, do I have a second to address some of the comments that were made?
Yeah, I'll allow it. Yes,
Should I go now?
yes.
Okay. I think the only one I really want to speak to is the school system. I don't think there's been one community that I've developed in my career where the school system was against the development coming. We all know what the developments do for school systems. You're seeing first and foremost an example of it in your own town. They stay well ahead of that. They have projections. They look into that. And the only comment I would make to that, if you look at some nearby communities that do not have that problem, they have the opposite. Those buildings become empty. And when schools become empty, people move out and home values go down. So as I mentioned in my opening comments, a community that does not continue to grow starts to decline. And I'll just leave it at that. And then as far as the thoroughfare, Mr. Steiner had some very good comments. There's a lot of forethought behind the dais on how you're going to handle that. And our feet were held to the fire, not only with this community, but also Aylesworth. And I think it's coming together well with the vision that this town has. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, I do. So,
You might want to pull the mic down so we can catch it.
So we provide the zoning change, but we don't get the chance to take a look at these renderings and tweak them or put our opinions into it? I mean, we're gonna accept, once you get your zoning, we accept these the way they're drawn?
Yeah, what you have in front of you is our version 6, version 1 through 4.
Yeah, you might, he's grabbing the mic.
You can grab the
Yes.
mic.
I'm sorry, the question at hand is, will the renderings be able to be tweaked after this meeting? And the version that you have in front of you is version 6, correct? 1 through 4 took place at a staff level, and we presented 4 and 5, and now you have 6 in front of you with the Hardy Board.
When you say staff level, our staff or your staff?
Correct.
Our staff?
Staff and some officials.
And then, of course, you mentioned that houses were as affordable as $450,000. I think that's what you said, as high as $600,000 plus. Can you tell me what the Adams is worth? I'm gonna go through all these, so just kind of get a feel of what each and every one of these are worth.
Is this base or adjusted?
Hey, Todd. So instead of going through each one of the houses and saying necessarily what they're worth, at Aylesworth, right, let's just say the house was 500,000, but Lennar is willing to take a discount on the homes. So what are the ranges on the low end if every home in that place were to take the discount? That's what I think Joe is after. I want to speak for Joe.
Yeah, no, I just.
That's a good question. So the question at hand that Mr. Anderson's asking us is Lennar has to adjust and move with market conditions. And this last 12 months has probably been the most movement that I've ever seen, with the exception of the deep recession. What Lennar is able to do is adjust with market conditions by offering incentives, just like any other builder. Your smaller custom builders might offer free appliance packages or closing costs, or steeply have to discount their home to get out of it because they can no longer carry it. When the interest rates went from 3% to 6%, we were all deer in headlights for a couple days, and Lennar acted differently than some other builders in the area or in the nation. What we did not want to do was drop prices to meet that affordability of the target buyer of the certain community. Aylesworth is a certain target buyer. Heron Landing is a completely different target buyer. And what I mean by target buyer, who are the people that we're targeting to buy the homes in this community? Aylesworth was basically a first-time home buyer community with 3 different products. So when you're a nationwide publicly traded builder, you have to answer your shareholders, and they want to know how many homes you're going to build and what your projections are. We underwrote Aylesworth with 3 products approaching 12 homes per month. That's what that community had to produce. And it has, and it's done it well. But when the interest rates went from 3% to 7%, we had a big problem. We could easily go in there and take $100,000 off, reduce the gross margin, but that also brings down property values. So instead, Lennar said, let's buy the mortgage down. And we're continuing to buy those mortgage rates down. And that costs Lennar about $50,000. The other discounts or incentives that you're seeing out there, Dave, are ways to make those homes meet those projections. Again, that was close to 12 homes per month that we underwrote that deal for. This community is 2 homes per month. The target buyer in this community is only about 20% of the Northwest Indiana market. The target buyer of Aylesworth was about 85% of the Northwest Indiana market. The income level required to buy here is different, and we are receiving a lot of pressure from the corporate management and leadership to reduce those incentives. And this is an exact example of how we are trained to reduce those incentives. Let's capture that buyer with product inside the home and aesthetics on the outside of the home. So in other words, if somebody comes to our home and we're offering a gourmet kitchen with a double oven, and they go to the home next door, yes, they can get a cheaper discount, but are they going to have the product that they want? And it seems to be working well. We have been continuing to evolve and find those different types of mousetraps, for lack of better words, to reduce the incentive, to keep the profitability of the home. But the biggest and greatest answer to your question is the projections, Aylesworth being 12 per month versus Heron Landing being underwritten and presented to our shareholders at a little bit over 2 per month. I think it's 2.2 or 2.5. So that right there will not force us to meet those projections as we are in other communities.
So the least amount of home you'll sell, there's around $450,000.
No. I think it's just at 500,000 because you got to increase on Hardy on these. And our most expensive home, Luke, I must have. Oh, this is the whole green folder. Okay. Yeah. So our smallest home is about 500 even, and our most expensive home is about $600,000.
And all the homes will have gourmet kitchens, upgraded flooring.
Yes.
Upgraded.
So Lennar hangs their hat on what we call EI, everything's included. So when you come and buy a Lennar home, we don't play that game where, oh, do you want, you're looking at something in a model home, you get what you see. It's not, oh, you want this, before you know it, the homeowner has $150,000 worth of options. What they see is what they get. So we include all of that in that price.
So none of the products were our choices, like for instance, granite countertops. If you propose a white and gray countertop, that's it, everybody
No,
gets the
they,
same.
if they want to do what we call a dirt sale, now about 80% of our homes, a little bit north of that, are what we call inventories. No different than you going to a car lot and picking out a car that's on that lot. But if you do have the time to wait, we'll build you what we call a dirt sale home. And that's where you could pull one of the color panels or the packages out of our library.
Last but not least, but again, doesn't make a big deal to me is the hardy board. I think when the gentleman said something about he didn't care about the hardy board, and I don't either, because when I look at the price what it costs to install hardy board versus the price it might add $10,000 to $20,000 max to a house depending on the size. So, you know, I mean, as far as making it affordable or viable, that hardy board does nothing for me. And what type of exposure are you gonna have on that, 8-inch?
I'm sorry, what was the last question?
Exposure, reveal of the hardy board, 8-inch,
You have a full-blown sample in front of you. That's the largest of the samples.
6-inch?
6 inch.
No,
6 is the big one.
big one's an actual
That
sample.
might be it.
That's the 8-inch.
Okay, 8-inch. Well, that's the size of the board, but what's the exposure? Kind of like a double four, like a vinyl?
Half inch to an inch overlap, under you, and then half inch overlap, so you have 7.
So you're okay, okay.
Now, as a resident, Joe, of Winfield, I respectfully disagree because the longevity of hardy board is much greater than any other type of siding out there in the vinyl family. If the market could absorb it, I know for a fact Lennar would want to do all of our homes hardy board. Every time we present a project to the corporate leadership, they ask us if we could switch it to hardy because of the longevity, the less warranty issues, so on and so forth. And it is, to your point, very expensive compared to vinyl. So and then just from a craftsmanship, it looks very solid. And you could tell in the renderings how they pop. It's a very well-built longevity home with the hardy.
Can you, Todd, can you quickly go through and point out where the thoroughfare will go through?
Absolutely. So right now, Gibson Street, I'll take the microphone, I'm sorry.
Please.
Gibson Street currently is a T intersection forcing northbound traffic to either go east or west. 109th Avenue, if you were to come through the Aylesworth subdivision, you would either come to a dead-end road, we haven't named this yet, I guess it would be Gibson, the continuation of Gibson, currently at dead ends, which is a 75-foot wide right-of-way. We were asked to propose 75 feet, and how wide did we go back a curb, back a curb? It's a larger back a curb for the foresight that you had, asking us to widen that road for this thoroughfare. So that thoroughfare will go from Gibson all the way up through Aylesworth, connecting to the existing roundabout. So you'll have connectivity from roundabout to roundabout with only one stop.
There'll be a T where Gibson meets Green. And Green is what connects 109th and roundabout, Gibson there, and they'll come to a T at the stub road right now.
And as you remember, what delayed your first roundabout was land acquisition. Between the two, this just goes to show you what development does. Out of the 4 corners, you've already have 3 of the right-of-ways dedicated due to, or you will, if this comes to fruition, have 3 of the major intersections, or corners, already dedicated, leaving you with 1 to acquire.
And if I remember correctly, that during construction, Fayette Street will be blocked off.
I thank you for bringing that up. I failed to mention that earlier. In the PUD, we do discuss construction traffic, where we agree to bring all of our construction traffic to and from at the 117th Avenue entrance, eliminating and hindering it from Windance as well as Aylesworth, as long as 109th Avenue is always open. When you constructed the 109th roundabout, I think it was completely shut down. I did offer my recommendation when I saw the Franciscan 231 roundabout go in. They did half, and then they switched the traffic to the other half, and I thought that flowed very well. when they just built or currently building the Klein Avenue and 109th roundabout in St. John, they built the radiuses and allowed traffic to continue to go through. I think it might be fully closed now, but I think there might be ways around that where you can keep that open. But absolutely, we will place signage. I think that's even the PUD signage will be placed. We can police that. You guys do a great job policing us. Always offer my cell number. Call me directly. The minute construction goes through those communities, we'll put a stop to it.
Thank you. Todd, how many years will this take to build out?
How many years to
Yes.
build it out? 146 divided by 2 is a little over 7 years. And phase 1, we agreed we would make this connectivity all in phase 1. So we will we'll mass grade it in 1 phase, we'll infrastructure and pave in 2 phases. But in phase 1, this entire stretch of thoroughfare will be constructed. And I misspoke earlier, I called it Smith Ditch, I meant to call that Graper Ditch.
Got it.
That subsurface drain tile is referred to Graper Ditch.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
So you're saying from day one, Gibson will be a north-south connector?
Yes. The pond is a wet bottom pond. It's a very large body of water, which I think would be a great accent to whatever develops to the west. I think that's already been made public record what the vision is for that.
Anyone else like to speak? Todd, I'm going to say that, this planning commission's been very gracious. We've spent several months, years, going over these numerous meetings. You guys have been there. We've even allowed this special meeting. In my opinion, this is still less than we originally approved. I said in the last meeting, I said, you have to come in and knock my socks off. I will allow this meeting to go through. The Hardy Board it's just not enough for me. I tend to agree with these residents. There's too many other concerns, including that. We heard potentially there was 4 or 5 residents today. With the absence of Mr. Steiner, I know who was representing the land developer, potentially up to another 120 petitions. I can't validate that. I haven't seen that. Quite a lot of opposition to this. So, in my opinion, you will not be getting a favorable recommendation to the town council, and that's all I really have. And thank you for your time. Not for me. So at this time, I'll entertain an unfavorable recommendation to the town council. An unfavorable. I'm recommending that or entertaining that motion if possible. Unless you have other comments.
Well, John, I do like some of these buildings you have here, but I don't believe that there's enough variety for us to look at. And I don't like the fact that we didn't have much chance to take a look at these until today. So that's kind of disappointing. In the past, we've had time to look at them, to be sent to us, we can comment amongst ourselves, but this particular one, why you kept it top secret, I have no idea. And again, I'm a little disappointed because prior to that, a couple months back, we spent many weeks working with you and we dropped the bombshell, I guess at one of our council meetings that, they put pressure on you to submit different plans, I think at that point in time, you probably should have got back to the town council prior to that so we could review these then and not so much now. So that kind of disappoints me because we're talking about a month, 6 weeks ago where we could have already looked at these and made a decision. And I think it would probably been more favorable for the fact that we didn't feel like we're being slighted here. And that's how I kind of personally feel, that we had the opportunity and gave you the opportunity to present, we agreed to everything, and then all of a sudden, boom, you changed it. And you say that you didn't drop the bombshell, it was the corporation. But then I find out a lot of time, or my experience is when you say things to us like, we're gonna give you the kitchen. I asked for a rendering, I don't see that rendering here, you say you're upgrading the floor, but we don't have no samples of that, there's some other, the trim, you say you're putting a better trim on it. Typically, others have brought stuff in there and showed it. You're not showing any of that. You're saying that we should take your word for it. We took your word for it once. It didn't work out for us, So I'm like John, and maybe others in here that I'm not saying we'll reject this totally, but I think you need to approach it a little differently and give us more.
Well, I'll just add something. I think the issue amongst the board, and I can only speak for me, I can't speak for everybody, but to Joe's point about being slighted, is that we approved this already on a 6-1 vote. And 2 weeks later, the bomb was dropped, as Joe put it, that, hey, you know, everything you guys approved, well, that's not gonna be happening now.
You speak up a little bit there.
Yeah, so that's not gonna be happening now. So, you know, in the discussions that we had since then, or there, I think part of the issue is a little bit of trust. That, how is it that, you know, is it corporate? I don't think it's Utah. I mean, I think, you know, the renderings that we had before, the homes that were built were beautiful homes. And I think you actually got comments to that effect from the audience that was here. I think the issue is the trust in Lennar. Like, can the town of Winfield trust Lennar to do what you say they're gonna do, when the last time we trusted it, that's not what happened? Not you personally, Lennar as a corporation. And is that, I think what bothers, I think the big part that bothers me is that the partner that the town of Winfield wants to get in bed with? But you have Aylesworth, and yes, I think in general, agreed to everything went fine for that. But I think part of Joe's question, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not gonna speak for you. But part of Joe's question is, you know, you did give incentives to give it away, some of the homes away, over in Aylesworth. Tied together then with the, hey, we can't build this now, so now we're asked, now we have to go through this again, when you should have been out there digging already. And so how is it that we can trust that this is actually gonna happen? How is it we trust, because, and that's the big, I think that's a big issue.
I can speak to that. And it's a very valid question. That was the reason for my opening comments about the trust. Had I not said anything and continued through that council meeting, I would have been fully approved. And then I would have been coming back here and opening up that PUD. So the trust is, you're looking at the trust. I didn't want to do that. I was right there at the 11th hour on a 6-1 recommendation to the town council. And I could have got that approval, walked out of here, and then came back to you and said, we changed the plans. I did not do that. And I came here personally. I could have done that. I could have hid behind an email. I could have hid behind a text message. I could have sent one of my employees here, associates here. I didn't do that. That's the trust factor. The other trust factor is the regional lift station that after the 11th hour, I was told your engineer was going to design. After we already designed it, this gentleman sitting in the audience designed that $1.8 million projected Jeremy Lin lift station that came in at 3.1. And what did Lennar do? Let's eat it and let's build it. And let's build it immediately, because Taft Junior High was opening the door in August of 2026. And this guy that you're looking at, that I have to look in the mirror, made that happen, brought that to fruition, was very proud when I went to Taft Junior High, all because I was born and raised in the town of Winfield. And every time I used the bathroom at Taft Junior High, I was proud to say, Lennar brought the money, Todd made it happen. And you know it's going to continue to happen here. You asked for new renderings, you asked for hardy board, you asked for 3-car garage, you asked for $450,000 to a roundabout when Althoff's only doing 300. You asked for an 80-foot wide home site when Althoff's doing multifamily. You asked for green space. Dave, that's the trust. The trust is in front of you. Pardon my emotions, but that's the trust. And again, I get what you're saying, but it was not a bait and switch. If it was a bait and switch, I'd have stood in front of this council, would have accepted my approval, and then I would have contacted Nick and said, hey, plans have changed. And then we would have been in a real situation. These plans that are in front of you this evening, I understand some of you might not like them, but when you compare them to what is being built and moving dirt to the southeast of us, how can you say you don't like these plans? And this is the first community in the town of Winfield that could easily set a precedent for you if you're worried about home values and make them all hardy board. Again, 3-car garage, $450,000 for a roundabout, detention for the roundabout. I'm not so sure property owners either will cooperate when you seek right-of-way for road improvements, or they won't cooperate. You're eventually gonna get it. It's a sad movie to watch, but you're gonna get the right-of-way. But it delayed your 109th right-of-way over 12 months. I think to answer your question, Mr. Anderson, Aylesworth proves the trust. I got a phone call from Nick. I think it might have been Mr. Snyder. He's in the room. He was still on the board. He said, Todd, you got to get that lift station up and running. And that was a very difficult task for me to achieve with a nationwide company. We switched it over $1 million over budget. 2 force mains when I was standing behind this podium and I was promised only 1. That was another thing. We were asked to put 2 force mains in, ran them all the way to the sewer treatment plant. I think the trust is already in existence on 117th to 109th Avenue.
The only thing I would add is that has, what transpired at the council meeting, and again, this isn't you, this is Lennar, is never happened in the time I've been here. I don't know, I'm not the longest guy serving on this board. I don't know, John, I think you're the longest guy.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, so that's why I bring it up, and that's kind of the part what you brought in that last time was we asked for something new, something different. If you remember day one of Aylesworth, or we said, hey, this can't be Aylesworth 2.0, and that's why there's more than 6 iterations of this. There's probably like, I don't know, 12 iterations of this at this point. I only bring it up because I think that's some of the way people feel. And it's not you. I think everybody likes you. Personally, it's Lennar. At the end of the day, you're right. They're a big $34 billion corporation who moves like the Titanic. And that they keep spinning the wheel and the boat keeps going straight. So, you know, if we were to say, and again, this was already approved once. You should be out there moving dirt right now. But if we were to say yes to this, I don't know if this sets any precedent of any kind. I don't know that, I just think that that's some of the way maybe some of the members feel. And I'm only bringing it up because it is a valid point, because it's never happened before, where something got approved, and now we're all sitting back here again going, well, what are we doing? You know, and then some of it is it your corporate guys pushing back on Winfield's not good enough for that? I don't know. I'm not sitting in those rooms. I have no idea.
No, I can assure you that the lineup was eliminated. Mr. Anderson, there's not a day that I don't wake up that I don't experience something that's never happened before. Now I regret coming in here and being honest. I was commended by Mr. Beaver for being honest and coming to you face to face and telling you what had happened. Maybe I should have gone through and got the approvals.
No, I agree that you did the right thing coming up, but I'm letting you know at the end of the day, you're not the final name. You're not the final say. They are, but Lennar is the final say. And if Lennar, if they were to come back, and I'm not saying they would do that with these, but at the end of the day, if the I's aren't dotted and the T's are crossed, and they decide they don't want to build them, they just won't build them. So I'm just telling you that from the perspective, so you see this side of the fence.
I understand that.
That's all I'm saying.
And that's the beauty of the way that you manage your town. The reason we're so married to this project is because we have to be fully engineered in order to even petition for a rezone. That is very uncommon. And once that PUD is approved by the town council, it's now the ordinance. These homes have to be built. So there's the protection for the municipality. If Lennar chooses not to move forward with it, whoever takes it over is back to square one, and they're coming back and they're doing their dog and pony show.
Well, yeah, anyway, that's all I was putting out there was, I think that's some of the pushback is that, hey, you had these homes, it was all approved, and now it's like, hey, you're not good enough for it, Winfield, so now we're gonna build these homes. And some of these homes are nice. I'm not saying they're not nice, but that's kind of the feeling.
That's couldn't be further from the truth, but I respect your feeling.
So, Todd, let me tell you this. So, like Dave and John, we all wear 2 hats, okay? So we have the unique thing of sitting on the planning commission and then town council. So each one of those has like different responsibilities, different concerns. So what happens here then can be different than what happens at the town council. With that being said, the plan itself, the houses and that, to me, are in line to what we've asked. In all honest opinion on that one. The units per acre is 1.8. This town has been dropping that number lower and lower every time that we go through this. Trying to get less houses on property. We can't stop growth. You know, we really can't stop that. If a farmer decides that they want to sell their field, they have the right to do it. It's their constitutional right in this world to do it. And who they sell it to is up to them. So if this is Gray wants, they don't want to deal with this property anymore, they have the right to do that. And that's where you guys come in, and then responsibilities that you guys have then to work with the communities. You have been doing that. You've been doing that. There's been bumps in this road for sure. Just like making things lighter on that. But this plan helps with a couple of issues that we have. The north-south thoroughfare, completing the Graper Ditch waterways. For anybody that has lived in this town or lived in this area understands that ditch through there takes a lot of water east and west, at some point north-south, however, which way it goes through there. So that does help with that. It does help with the roundabout, the traffic flow down onto 117th. As for the schools, somebody did say about the schools grow. The schools grow. The schools have property. We dealt with that as we were dealing with Taft. That there's plenty of space. I do know that the schools have plans for other schools. They have plans. Everybody keeps talking about a high school. I'm sorry, my personal opinion, they've already built the high school. It's called Taft. And one day it'll be that. That's my personal opinion. I have nothing to confirm that. But there is plenty of room for growth in the schools. As for this plan right now, as I said, you know, the plan itself looks good. So even if I say yes to here, can my town council hat be different? Certainly. So I have the two hats that we have to wear. But I just want to give that information out on that one there. That the thoroughfare, the gentleman's concerned about Fayette, that one is not going to be, that is not the main road through there. That main road is that Gibson Street. It is wider to maintain most of that traffic through here on that north and south. But that was a big one. What else was there? Everything else. I think I hit everything that we had and a lot of the concerns. As for the amount of houses, this is what, 146 houses? I think somebody said originally 180 houses.
146.
146, yeah. So it is a lower amount, but with that, I'll just speak with my vote and that from there. But I just want to get that information out there so that we have all the information here for and against with it. So thank you.
So, Ryan, just a question. Could the Plan Commission decide to not make any recommendation? Because ultimately, this body will not decide whether that goes through or not.
Correct.
It will be at the town council that the rezone is decided. Mm-hmm. So can the Plan Commission take no action or make a no recommendation and then let it be decided? I mean, it's going to be decided at town council, up or down, or no recommendation.
Yeah,
anyway.
So from our perspective, the preference is always there to be some form of action, whether it be up or down. Obviously, there is 6 people here tonight. It's easy to do the math. We envision a 3-3 split. If that does happen, then you have 2 options, right? Option 1 is you kick it till we have a 7th member, and then you get a recommendation that way, hoping we'll have all 7 then. Alternatively, you can vote to offer no recommendation to the town council. It's not the preferred path, but it is an option that's out there.
Yeah, I think in this situation, with the even number of people, and ultimately it's getting decided at the town council, and I think that there's 2 other members of the town council that are not here, that they need to weigh in on this.
And as they can't be here though.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying it's not I'd almost say no recommendation, let it go to the town council and then
Well,
hash it out there.
If I could, I don't know if you guys have anything to say. You've been pretty quiet over here. Any comments?
I don't, I've been on board for
Okay.
the last two meetings, and nothing has changed my direction of
Okay.
where I'm gonna go, so.
Yeah, same with me. With all the thoroughfare, school problems, ultimately the school doesn't fall on us. We don't control the schools.
Correct.
That's the school board. They know what's going on. They're not, that's their game to play. We don't build schools. We can't ask them to build a school. That's not our position. It's not our ball game. So I have kids going to the school. I have the same concerns about being overcrowded, but that's a school board issue. That's not a Winfield, because they're dealing with Crown Point, Winfield, Hebron. They have a lot more players in the game than just our little subdivision. So the thoroughfare, yeah, I live here. I've lived here for over 20 years. The traffic is horrible, but the only way to alleviate it is to create more ways to get in and out. And going through communities is not the greatest, but you have to find a way to get north and south. Because if anything ever devastating happened on Randolph, they gotta find a way. Then State and Benton are gonna be the tie-up. And getting on to 109th, making a left or right on there is gonna be impossible. So the more ways we can get diversion of traffic going through, I think it's gonna be better. I do like the Hardy board. I've done construction before. It is a nicer product. It lasts a lot longer. It holds up. It's more durable. It doesn't fade. Doesn't shrink.
Melt.
Yeah, you can have a grill a little bit closer than 12 feet away, so you don't have to worry about it melting. I'm favorable for it,
This
so.
is true.
Same thing, so if it looks like it's gonna be a 3-3, then that's ultimately up to the next step up.
Well, ultimately it is. It's just the recommendation that we send.
I mean, what you need to do is you need to get it out of here, right? Because the town council is the one that makes the decision. So if
Correct.
somebody votes for a negative recommendation and that ends up at 3-3, then you know a positive is gonna go the same way. It's an option. The other option is you punt it down the road and we do the whole thing again.
Yeah, that's not fair for
No.
Todd.
Because we're just gonna hear everything
It's-
again.
It doesn't, that is unfair. And that's why I asked about the no recommendation, let it be settled at the town council.
I mean, council will give finality.
That council is the finality, whether it's up or down anyway.
Correct.
So,
Do we do a roll call, favorable, unfavorable, or?
no, I guess.
Well, we need a motion. There's no motion.
There's no motion.
Yeah.
So I'll just make a motion that we say there's no recommendation from the plan commission and that, we send it up to the town council and let them vote on it.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mark. Could we do a roll call vote, please?
Of course.
Discussion.
John Nowinski,
Do we have discussion?
Would you like some discussion?
Yes, I
Sure.
would.
Sure. Sorry.
I personally would say that we just need to be on the record and say one way or another to this. To make a recommendation according to, like, what Attorney Deutmeyer said, you know, we were put here to do a job, to say yes or no to something, not just be indifferent on it. So that's just my opinion on it, that we should really just vote up or down, yes or no on it.
Well, what you can do if Dave were to withdraw the motion,
Correct.
and Mark to
There's a
withdraw
motion on
his
the floor,
second,
yeah.
is
Yeah.
let somebody throw a motion out there, positive or negative, and if it ends 3-3, then we know what the next option is.
Yeah,
And if it ends 4-2, 5-1, or 6-0, then it moves on.
yeah. And it still moves on to the council and the recommendation.
Even if it's a negative recommendation, it still
Yeah.
goes up.
Mr. Clayton, can I interject and say one thing before you guys make a recommendation or move forward? If Lennar does not proceed with this, I don't know what the future holds with a future developer. Right now, it seems like you guys are torn on the elevations. But everything on this board here, we agreed to and went over and beyond. your next developer, because it obviously won't be Lennar, could easily point their finger at other communities and might be more aggressive in other ways, which I don't agree with. And you might have a higher dense, less contribution. Who knows what it could turn into? And even though you turn that down, I've seen stranger things happen. Some judge could say, okay, and now you might be sitting wishing you would have considered this. That's not a threat, that's just reality. And I just want to make sure, I've been doing this a long time, I've seen a lot of things, as you probably have too. Everything you have in front of you, you have asked for and we have committed to. I just ask that you please keep that in mind before you make a recommendation.
Thank you.
And we still plan to move dirt this year. And I think that we could still achieve asphalt this year.
So we do have the motion.
So there's a motion and a second?
Yeah, so no matter what happens here, this still goes to the council.
Correct. Correct.
At the end of the day, the
As
council.
long as there's some action, yes.
As long as something,
I
either
mean,
no,
if you go no recommendation and you still can't get 4 votes, then you got nothing.
I understand. And my reason for to Tim's point, while I understand that this was here, if I were to vote no, that doesn't mean I'm gonna not vote no at the council level. To Tim's point, there's a couple different hats here that need to be worn.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said a no recommendation, from my perspective, is a non-recommendation.
Yes.
A non-recommendation is you have 3 council members sitting here. And so I'm not sure that I want to be yet on the record of a yes or no. I still need to think about, I still have some think about some things. And as I mentioned in this, I think the biggest issue that eats at least me a little bit is the issue of it's never happened in the history we've been presented, where somebody's come in, said, hey, we're going to do all this stuff. And you're right, Todd, everything on that plan, the land plan's fine, but everything on there, and then come back and say, can't do any of that. And you're right, you came in and that was the right thing to do. And I think you got a lot of respect for doing that. My issue becomes then is, okay, well, that's one thing. Then what happens if you don't sell 2 a month? What happens if you start discounting these houses? It just cascades into some different things. So my thing is, I just need to think about it. The land plan itself, I think, is fine. I said that last time. I think I said it from day one, the land plan was fine. So that's why I was like, if it's going to the council either way, and they're going to make the decision on it, whether it's favorable or unfavorable, I mean, if that's what we want to do, then I'm happy to withdraw the motion, take an up or down vote. But what I do here might not be what I do at the council level.
Mr. Anderson, I appreciate all that. And
What I was trying to iterate with my.
Yeah, so I could vote, I could be yes, but you could get a no from me then too.
from a
This is
petitioning,
not
from a
hang
peti-
on. This is not a easy vote for this. It was an easy vote when you came back a few months ago. This is not cut and dry. And just to address, say it's a no, and whoever comes in next, do you really think that they're gonna get anything more? I mean, the answer is no. But that's a hypothetical that we can't address. We have to address what's here now. And so, like I said,
What we're charged with.
I'm letting you know.
from
Now,
a
what you
petitioner
get today,
standpoint.
but next Tuesday, you might not get the same vote.
I understand the concerns and the hesitation on which way to vote. From a petitioner standpoint, I would have much greater confidence and pride if I went to the town council with a no recommendation. I have seen that before. I'm not so sure if I walk out of here with a unfavorable recommendation, what my superiors are gonna ask me to do. And I do agree with you, and I also agree with you, Mr. Crank, because I've said that. I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my mouth. The Plan Commission is here to do it, but if there's controversy that needs to be thought about, I would much rather walk out of here with a no recommendation to the town council than an unfavorable recommendation, because I'm just not so sure what I'm gonna be guided to do afterwards.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep my motion on the table.
Okay, yeah. Mark, you okay? Okay, so there's motion and second. Can we have a roll call, please? This is for
No recommendation.
no recommendation to town council.
Non-recommendation.
Non-recommendation.
It's not a yes or no, it's just no recommendation. Plan commission takes no,
No action.
well, not no action.
Taking no position.
No position on it.
There you go, thank you. Yes, please.
John Joinski,
Yes.
Mark Nelson,
Yes.
Tim Clayton,
Yes.
Dave Anderson.
Yep.
Joe Gacy.
Yep.
Jim Hajic.
No.
Well, Joe, what was yours? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no new other additional business, so at this time, is there any comments from Deb or Nick?
Comments.
Mr. Deutmeyer? Nope. Mr. Duffy?
No, sir.
Finney? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.